Andy? Skunk Ape? Good morning, afternoon, or evening, dear Bunk Funkers. Today, my darling co-host and I shall present to you a well-organized and thoroughly researched portrayal of the Cryptidius zoologicus phenomenaris, Peculiara seminae, or in lay terms, the skunk ape.
Indeed. You all probably thought we would intro the research with some over-the-top histrionic caricatures of southern descent, rambling on about hunting the skunk ape, probably with cartoonish portrayals of the American Southern dialect.
Oh, no. We've grown, Bunk Funkers, and all that silliness and jokes, that's all behind us now. No. We're very much going to present the story of the skunk ape without any wacky hijinks or goofy characters or anything, just straight facts, the way you all like it. No, very serious indeed. So, shall we begin, Andrew?
Skunk Ape.
To understand such a creature, one has to understand the etymology of both the skunk and the ape. And this is where we shall begin. Anthropology is the study of, blah, blah.
Well, hello there. My name's Swamp Boat Charlie. First name Swamp Boat, second name Charlie, last name Brown.
And I'm Devereaux Thibodeau, owner of the Hedgerow Restaurant, the finest etouffee buffet this side of the Mississippi now. Some of you now might be asking yourself, why two Cajun fellas, two fine Cajun gentlemen, is here hacking your podcast feed about a story set in Florida now?
Well, we teamed up because Andy and Art is a couple of gators who thinks they's chickens.
Those boys ain't right now.
And Devereaux and I, we are actually the finest skunk ape hunters there ever was. We hunt the skunk ape.
That's right now. I do declare. And we need to make sure the skunk ape story is done justice. 'Cause let me tell y'all now, if you ever been deep in the swamps, deep down where the water's so high it go up to your knees now, you don't know east from west. Everywhere you look now, there's only the swamp. And then first, you smell it.
Smell like a bad onion.
Or worse than an onion. Swamp boat. Then though, you hear 'em. Boom, boom, boom.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers. And twa, you don't see nothing. It sees you. The skunk ape got you.
A 7-foot tall, 400 pounds of primate humanoid, possibly a descendant from the late Paleolithic era. You ain't ready to take on the skunk ape. Luckily, y'all got us now. Andy and I are gone, and it's just us now, and it will be for the rest of this episode. Trust me. So let's begin for real. Skunk apes are
Andy, all right. I think I got our feedback. We were hacked.
That egghead wasn't working, Art. We got our feed hacked. Let's just get back to normal.
Yeah, and I hope that's the last we see of those wily Cajun hackers. Boy, talk about a hacky trope, huh, Andy?
Seriously.
I mean, Cajun hackers? Geez, way to play into stereotypes.
Cajun
right.
people, of course, known for their tech savvy.
Oh, we see it constantly. It's a constant trope in media. The Cajun
Not
hacker.
every Cajun person knows how to use computers like the back of their hand, okay? It's a stereotype. It's not right.
We're not going to mess around anymore, Bunk Funkers, okay? We're sorry. We're sorry. We're not well-refined eggheads. We never have been. We are who we are. We're here to give you the whole enchilada on the skunk ape. Now, the skunk ape goes by many, many names. However, maybe you've heard it as the swamp cabbage man, the swamp ape, the stink ape, the Florida Bigfoot, the Louisiana Bigfoot, the Myakka ape, the Myakka skunk ape, swamp squatch, skunk man, skunk monkey, swamp man, the swamp monster, and the barred-in booger.
Okay, very funny, Art. Where'd you get this list of my nicknames from high school?
Oh, Andy. It's unclear who first coined the name skunk ape, but sources say it surfaced somewhere around the 1960s. Now, skunk ape is much like Bigfoot, but if it personified Florida. Florida, we're just joking. Come on, we're just pulling your panhandle a little bit. We're gonna for the rest of the episode, okay? Just
ribbing ya.
But yes, skunk ape and Sasquatch or Bigfoot are very closely related, except there's a few varied qualities. The most obvious thing being its horrific odor. Skunk ape is a large, foul-smelling, hairy, ape-like creature, which walks upright on two legs. It generally has dark fur, but has often been described as having brown, red, cinnamon-colored fur, and even white fur. It has a large, round head with big, shining eyes and no noticeable neck, and broad, rounded shoulders. When standing upright, it has long, dangling arms. Classic Sasquatch outline here, folks. One other difference is the size. Now, Bigfoot didn't just get its name for its feet. It got it because it's big. It's Bigfoot. Skunk ape is typically a little smaller than its Pacific Northwest cousin. According to Joe Nickel, who we'll talk about it a little bit, he's going to show up again a little later, who is a reporter for the Skeptical Inquirer. He researched over 77 different skunk ape cases, and he found that skunk ape sizes range from 4 feet tall to as tall as 10, but the average reported was about 7.45 feet tall.
The skunk ape has typical Bigfoot behavior as well. Skunk apes are frequently seen standing among trees, crossing roads, and occasionally being hit by cars, rummaging in garbage, drinking water or catching fish from lakes or streams, visiting campsites, standing to peer in windows, and so on. It typically vocalizes by growling, grunting, grumbling, or producing stressed breathing, and at least in one case, clicking noises. Much like the skunk ape, Art, too, is a reclusive, creepy voyeur who communicates with awkward grunts.
True, but I don't stink.
That's true. He doesn't, and neither do I.
I can confirm that both Andy and I are very nice-smelling people. Quit sending us messages online saying we stink.
We don't.
It's not true.
We smell okay.
I don't know what else you guys could be talking about when you say we stink. We can't overstate how bad the skunk ape stunks. This thing apparently reeks of rotten cabbage worse than a skunk. The kind of smelly smell that smells something smelly.
Ooh.
Yarr. Skunk ape sightings happen all over Florida, from the Panhandle to the Everglades. But skunk ape is especially fond of the Big Cypress National Preserve, a massive 720,000 acre, that is 2,900 kilometers square, national preserve of swampland. And it's home to, all sorts of plants and animals, including the elusive Florida panther. But could it be home to the elusive skunk ape? And are skunk apes and the Florida panther's friends? That's what I want to know.
Real question. Yeah.
Regardless, a large animal could easily move around here without being seen by humans, let me tell you.
So what's the history of the old skunk ape? Well, some Bigfoot believers argue that the creatures could be a tiny relic population of an ape species thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago, such as Gigantopithecus or Paranthropus. Same thing with Bigfoot. Skunk ape has roots in local Native American populations from Florida as well, such as the Seminoles or the Miccosukee tribe, who have been telling stories of the skunk ape sightings for centuries. Some early Native American legends, which speak of giants along the Kissimmee River and the Sand People and Mangrove People,
Could these legends be describing skunk apes? One interesting story is the historical account of Henry Tamer, an early pioneer in Orange County. Tamer told about, quote, finding Indian graves on the St. Johns River with skeletons as big as giants and skulls that would fit over a normal man's head, end quote. In 1935, workers unearthed, quote, a human thigh bone that was as long as a man's whole leg, end quote. Were these the skeletal remains of a skunk ape?
Now, there are a plethora of reported sightings in the modern era, and to be fair, most of them go something like this. This person saw a skunk ape. The end. So, we scoured a bunch of them, and we've picked a few that have a little more meat on the bones, which is what the skunk ape would want anyway. It wants that meat on those bones. In November of 1966, a woman was driving down a remote country road near Brooksville, Florida, when her car suddenly got a flat tire. So she pulled to the side of the road, retrieved the spare tire from the trunk of her car, and proceeded to change the flat. When she smelled a terrible, strange odor, she ignored it at first, thinking, it's probably just some polecat. But then, she heard its footsteps. They were heavy and coming from the opposite side of the road. As she tightened the last lug nut on the fresh tire, she saw it. A 7-foot-tall, human-like creature standing on the other side of the road, watching. It was walking upright with shaggy, dark fur covering its entire body. On the top of its rounded shoulders was its head with the face of a man. Almost curious of what the lone woman was doing, it squatted down and stared at her. Just then, another passing vehicle drove by, and it vanished back into the swamp.
Now, skunk ape sightings, much like disco and large suit lapels, saw an increase in the 1970s. Some say this is due to the increase in housing development in the Everglades in the 1970s, which was pushing the skunk ape out of its natural habitat. In February of 1971, 5 archaeologists were excavating a Native American mound deep in the Big Cypress swamp, which, as we mentioned, is a very deep, large, isolated area of swampland in South Florida. When the men got done with the dig and set up camp for the night, it attacked. All 5 described a large bipedal primate crashing their camp and completely wrecking the place before shrouding itself back in the dense, deep swamp. They recall it being 7 to 8 feet tall and about 700 pounds and covered with shaggy white fur. Later, the team found footprints measuring 18 inches by 11 inches wide. And as with every skunk ape encounter, the team complained about the sickening odor that lingered long after the creature departed.
In January of 1974, the Gila Gardens Police Department responded to a motorist who reported hitting a large, 7-foot-tall, hairy creature. The motorist said they hit the creature and it retaliated by attacking his car and growled before limping off into the swamp. The department sent out a helicopter to search the surrounding swamp and allegedly spotted the ape-like creature 5 miles out from where it had been hit. We say allegedly because while this incident was reported in local newspapers and recalled from law enforcement personnel, there's no official record relating to it. Then again, how would a skunk ape know to press charges? Perhaps it was trying to get the guy's insurance information. We may never know. The skunk ape sightings continue to trickle in through the 70s.
That's right, Art. In 1975, 7 young men reported seeing 3 skunk apes in Citrus County. In 1977, 3 more were seen near Moon Lake, Florida, and one was allegedly 10 feet tall. In fact, skunk ape sightings had gotten so popular that in 1977, State Representative Paul Nuckols from Fort Myers wanted to make it a misdemeanor to capture or harass a skunk ape. He introduced a bill in the state legislature, House Bill 1664, to protect the elusive man-ape, which in part stated, quote, any person taking, possessing, harming, or molesting any anthropoid or humanoid animal which is native to Florida, popularly known as the skunk ape, or doing any act reasonably capable of harming or molesting such animals, end quote. The bill never passed into law, but that hasn't stopped discussions about trying it again.
Well, Andy, it's time to ditch our platform shoes and bell bottoms for flannel and a lock of Eddie Vedder's hair. Because in 1997, a guided tour bus full of foreign tourists traveling through Okeechobee, Florida, in the Everglades, saw a large ape-like animal presumed to be a skunk ape ambling through the outskirts of a swamp. Soon afterward, Okeechobee Fire Chief Vince Duer saw a similar creature crossing the road near his house and rushed into the swamp. Duer managed to take a photo of the creature before it escaped. This is considered one of the first ever photographs of the skunk ape, but it wouldn't be the last.
In 2000, a woman who to this day has remained anonymous sent a letter and some unsettling photographs to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. These photographs weren't the kind I send, that is, tasteful nudes. They showed what looked to be some kind of great ape. I mean, my photos kind of show that, but, I mean, it's different. The photos were taken in the dark with the camera's flash. The ape is looking directly at the camera from a medium distance, and its eyes and teeth are shining bright in the camera's flash. The letter states, quote, "Enclosed, please find some pictures I took. My husband thinks it is an orangutan. Is someone missing an orangutan? It is in a crouching position in the middle of standing up from where it was sitting. It froze as soon as the flash went off. I heard the orangutan walk off into the brushes. I judge it as being about 6.5 to 7 feet tall. As soon as I realized how close it was, I got back to the house. It had an awful smell that lasted well after it had left my yard. The orangutan was making deep whoomp noises." End quote. She goes on to say that the ape had been stealing apples off their back porch. Folks have tried to track down the lady who took these photographs. David Barcasey, owner of reptile wholesaler Silver City Serpentarium in Sarasota. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Not only tried to track down this skunk ape, but the lady who took these photos. But all he was ever able to track down was that the photographs were printed in December 2000 at the Eckerd Photo Lab at the intersection of Fruitville and Tuttle Roads. Some say that's not useful. I say you found a good photo processor. Still, the Mayaka photos remain one of the cornerstones of the skunk ape legend.
Well, that's well and good, but what about today, Andy? You know, how has the skunk ape hunt continued? A possibly controversial, but nonetheless prominent member of the continued skunk ape hunt is a guy named Dave Sheeley. Now, according to Sheeley, this is his quote, "I am the expert, the state and county expert on the Florida skunk ape, and have been for years," end quote. Sheeley runs the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters in Okeechobee, Florida, nestled deep in the Big Cypress National Preserve, where his family has lived for decades, actually, long before it was even a national preserve, actually. The Skunk Ape Research Headquarters doubles as a tourist roadside attraction where you can see big-ass reptiles and look at skunk ape pictures and foot molds of his feet and buy skunk ape t-shirts. Now, Sheeley has written a field guide on the skunk ape, he's made TV appearances about it, and continually investigated skunk ape sightings.
Dave Sheeley had his first encounter with the stinky solitaire in the early 70s. He and his brother, Jack, were out hunting when Dave was only 10, when they saw it stalking through the swamps. Dave has been hooked ever since. Later in 1998, Dave set up a few tree stands on his 30-acre swamp property and spent an entire year sitting in them and baiting the area to try and lure a skunk ape. On September 8th, 1998, he was rewarded with his second sighting. According to Dave, quote, "I heard something splashing in the water. Splash, splash, splash. At first I thought it was a person, but then from around 100 yards away, I saw it coming toward me. It was a skunk ape, the same as I saw when I was a kid." End quote. Dave took several photos of the skunk ape before it scampered off into the swamps. He later returned and made a concrete cast of its footprint, which is still in his gift shop today.
In 2000, Dave captured footage of a skunk ape for the third time. It's kind of grainy daytime footage shot from hundreds of feet away, but it definitely shows the creature moseying about in the hummock of palm trees. Then about halfway through the video, the creature kind of breaks into a run, escaping into the forest. Sheeley notes that he filmed it at a swamp where the water was a foot deep, which made the creature's speed, which Sheeley estimates at 22 miles per hour, very impressive and, quote, impossible for a human to achieve. So basically what he's saying is suck on those stinky skunk ape nuts, haters. It definitely wasn't his brother in a gorilla suit, because his brother can't run that damn fast. More on people thinking this is all just his brother in a gorilla suit later. Anyway, it was shortly after this footage that Sheeley applied for a grant to study the skunk ape, but was denied.
Now, like we said, Sheeley isn't without his controversy. Critics point out that he profits directly from this supposed cryptid, and he ain't afraid to stir the pot, neither. Sheeley claims that he saw the skunk ape again in 2011 and was able to retrieve some hair it left on a branch, but shortly after, some unidentified government agents came to his home and confiscated it. Aside from Dave Sheeley, the skunk ape has drawn media attention away from its more famous cousin, Bigfoot, on occasion. In an episode for Finding Bigfoot on the Animal Planet TV network, the hosts visit a couple who live in remote Quincy, Florida, up near the Panhandle. The couple showed a broken bird feeder, a broken fence post, and a plaster cast they took of the alleged skunk ape who would attack their home. They also showed photos of a greasy, nasty, stinky handprint that the skunk ape allegedly left on the inside of the back door window, meaning it allegedly opened the back door to their home and then left its stinky handprint there. Rookie mistake. You got to make sure to wipe your hands before you go beefing and peeping. That's where I ate a big greasy Italian beef sandwich and then peep into people's houses.
Whatever you do to get your kicks, Andy.
Oh, I get kicked a lot. Can you believe how rude some people are, Art? I'm just beefing and peeping. There's no reason to kick me. Just a simple beef and peep.
That's a beef and a peep.
It's just a beef and a peep. I ate a big beef and now I'm peeping in your windows. Don't kick me. Jeez Louise. I ain't some persnickety pervert. I'm just beefing and peeping.
So what exactly would it take for the skunk ape to be recognized by science? Well, for starters, it would probably need to publish a paper in a science-related field. I jest. The International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, or ICZN, is a widely accepted convention in zoology that rules the formal scientific naming of organisms treated as animals. Basically, if you're going to describe a new species, you got to follow the ICZN's rules. You have to have specific types of evidence available for other scientists to evaluate and then approve of. But there's hope for the poor skunk ape. Dozens of new mammal species have been discovered since the start of the 21st century. But, I mean, they tend to be very subtle differences in already existing species, which, again, I guess that could work for the skunk ape. They just got to find Bigfoot first. So, for example, in August 2013, the first new carnivorous mammal discovered in the Americas in 35 years was announced. The Olinguito is, which is like this small arboreal cousin of the Olingo. They kind of look like little ferrets.
All right, so what are some skeptical answers for what the this stinky bastard is? See, despite dozens of projects going on in the Everglades, including motion-activated cameras, no one has ever captured distinctive empirical evidence of a skunk ape. Almost all of it is eyewitness testimony, which, for skunk ape skeptics, is the Axe body spray, which douses the curious stench of the skunk ape story. Let's start with the obvious. It's just some dude in a gorilla suit. This is an excuse frequently used for Bigfoot as well. Now, various critics of Dave Sheeley say that he uses his brother to dress up in a gorilla suit to trick people and that all his supposed skunk ape footage was a fake. But in fairness, there's a lot of similar skunk ape stories throughout the years all over Florida. Is it truly feasible that they're all just guys in gorilla suits?
If so, Andy, then the real conspiracy is all the money that costume shops are making. Big Gorilla Suit is in on it.
Oh my God. Hashtag investigate Party City.
Joe Nickel. Remember when we said we'd bring him up again? Well, we're bringing him up again.
Yeah, I remember.
He's a longtime reporter for the Skeptical Inquirer, and we've referenced him, I think, on probably every single cryptid episode at this point.
Yeah.
He believes the skunk ape may actually be a bear? Skunk bear. Let's list some bear facts. Here's some bear facts. Black bears are covered with shiny black fur and come in various other colors like cinnamon and even white, just like the skunk ape. A large black bear can easily stand up to be 7 feet tall and weigh between 200 and 587 pounds, just like a skunk ape. When a bear stands up, they have the appearance of having no neck and rounded shoulders, which is a common trait amongst, you guessed it, skunk apes. Bears can be very malodorous as well. They often scavenge dead animals or rummage around in dumpsters, which can make them smelly. You know, unless they're super cute and a big part of my childhood, in which case they don't wear pants, they love eating honey, and are best friends with Piglet and Christopher Robin.
True.
Different kind of bear. Bears typically move around on all fours, but have been known to stand on their hind legs to peer into areas and even walk around bipedally, just like a skunk ape. And some say that their hind footprints look remarkably human-like. Again, similar to skunk apes. Furthermore, bears have a habit of being creepy voyeurs, like many Bigfoot lookalikes, such as the skunk ape. Bears will stand and watch people. They'll infiltrate their camps and homes, swim in streams, climb trees, just having a bear old time. All in line with skunk ape sightings over the years. But when you think Florida, do you really think of bears?
Well, bears did indeed occupy much of Florida's mainland at one time, Art. But human settlement has greatly reduced their primary range, that is, core population, over time. Joe Nickel believes it is a black bear, and he believes bears make up most of Bigfoot lookalike sightings. Joe even mentions Occam's razor in his report, meaning the simplest tenable explanation. The one with the fewest assumptions is most likely to be correct. And when he did mention Occam's razor, I cummed in my pants.
Well, bears, guys in gorilla suits, yeah, that's all a little too vanilla for me, mate. No, I want some of that weird
You know what I mean. Well, I'm British.
What if skunk apes are actually escaped primate prisoners of a secret genetic testing facility
Deep in the Florida Everglades, huh?
Ooh, god damn, that's a twist. I mean, seriously, who saw that coming?
Not me, huh? Dave Sheeley's property on Okeechobee is relatively close to both a great ape sanctuary as well as a primate genetic testing and breeding facility. Sheeley once tracked an alleged skunk ape sighting to a nearby town of Immokalee. He followed the tracks to a barbed wire fence that enclosed a mysterious primate breeding facility. And it's true. There is a company called Primate Products, which operates out of Immokalee, Florida, which has several species of macaque monkeys, around 1,500. A research organization called the Mannheimer Foundation runs a satellite facility about an hour north of Immokalee that houses a reported 5,000 macaques and baboons. Sheeley believes the whoops and the cries and the calls of the monkeys attract skunk ape, who recognize them as brethren. The mild winters and warm climate of southern Florida actually makes for a great environment for monkeys and is very close to their natural habitat, which is probably why near Silver Springs, Florida, a group of rhesus monkeys have spread to what some say is more than 200 wild monkeys. And troves of other wild monkey tribes live near Naples, Florida. But be careful, they can have herpes.
Oh my God. Who are you, my mother? Andy, be careful. Don't get herpes from those monkeys. If I want to play with cute little monkeys, I'll effing do it. Don't give a f***. You can't get herpes twice anyway. Anyway, then there's the Center for Great Apes, which is a sanctuary for orangutans and chimps, and is home to 35 great apes, including Bubbles, who was once owned by now-deceased pop star Michael Jackson. Could one or some of the escaped monkeys and great apes from these centers be the cause of the skunk ape sightings? Could these orangutans at the Great Ape Center explain the bizarre Mayaka photos? Well, Bunk Funkers, we hope you've had your fill on the whole enchilada on the skunk ape. a thoroughly researched and intelligent discussion on a fascinating stuff.
All right, Devereaux, we got the feedback hacked.
We're back. Did y'all miss us?
I'm gonna assume that maybe less than like 20% did.
Yeah, that sounds about right now. Well, lube up my testes and fry me up a dingleberry.
Well, come on my fart hole and make me
I'm as shocked as y'all are now that Annie and I turned around this episode here.
I believe this was a fine showcasing of the prowess and the tenacity of the skunk ape. Now, I don't know what we can wrap up this episode with.
Yes, perhaps some kind of large casserole style dish, which means the entire scope of a given topic.
We hope you enjoyed the whole jambalaya on the Skunk Ape.
Yo!
Oh.
Down there on the bio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big old skunk ape, 6 foot, 7 foot skunk ape.
Skunk Ape.